Hi, this is worksheet 10.3 day 1. First problem's asked you to fill in the blank with the number that would complete the square. So when you're thinking about completing the square, what you want to do is look at this middle number. In this case, it's an 8. Pardon me there. And you want to take half of it and then square that. So completing the square process, we're always going to take half of the middle. All right. We're going to take half of the middle and then we're going to square that. So for this first one, half of 8 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. We're going to put a plus 16 down. And we put that on both sides there. Plus 16. All right? And then that's it. That's all we're doing on this first part here. So same thing here. We're going to take half of 12, which is 6. 6 times 6 is 36. So we're going to add 36 to both sides. Okay? So it's as simple as that. This is going to be one of the first steps we do. There's going to step that we'll do right before it when we do the whole process, but then right after that, then we do this here. So half of 40 is 20. 20 times 20 is 400. We add 400 to both sides. Okay. And then half of 24 is 12. 12 times 12 is 144. So we add 144 to both sides. Okay. Again, this wasn't asking us to do anything else other than that, just kind of start the process. What we're going to do after this step then on the next worksheet is go to this here. So we'll have created a perfect square, and then our job is to kind of finish it off. So what we're going to do here is we're going to factor. So we look for two numbers that multiply to equal 9 and add to equal 6, and that would be 3 and 3. And because it's the same thing, we could write it as x plus 3 times x plus 3, or preferably x plus 3 squared. All right? And the reason we do that is because then we can take the square root of both sides and have x plus 3 equal to a positive or negative 6. All right? And the reason it's 6 square root of 36 is 6. 6 times 6 is 36. And we put this plus or minus there, just like we did last week. And then we're going to subtract 3, and we'll put that minus 3 right in front. So we're going to have negative 3 plus or minus 6. And in a case like this, we'll just go ahead and do that. So negative 3 plus 6 is 3. And negative 3 minus 6 is negative 9. And there's our answers. Okay? So that's the process. That's how we want to go about doing that. Same thing here on number 6. Think of two numbers that multiply to equal 25 and add to equal negative 10, and that'd be negative 5 and negative 5. So this would be x minus 5 squared. That lets us take the square root of both sides. So x minus 5 equals positive or negative 7. And if I add 5 and throw that right in front, I get x equal to 5 plus or minus 7. So x could equal 5 plus 7, which is 12, or 5 minus 7, which is negative 2. So again, the process is not too bad. Once you get to this stage, then it's a factoring, square root, and you kind of solve it. The step before this will be what you do up here, and then like I said, there's one easy step that we'll have right before it. We'll show that to you on the next worksheet. All right, same thing here. What two numbers multiply to equal 49 and add to equal 14? That would be 7 and 7. So p plus 7 squared equals 13. We take the square root. So p plus 7 equals positive or negative square root of 13. Now the square root of 13 is not so nice like the other ones were, so we're going to leave it like that for right now. And we'll go negative 7. Throw that in front. So this is a fine way to write it. In fact, you'll see that on like an ACT or some other thing. They'll just leave it like that, no big deal. But if we did want to go ahead and see what that was, you could do negative 7 plus the square root of 13 and get negative 3.394. And then you could do negative 7 minus the square root of 13 and get negative 10.606. Again, I think either of these are fine. But on a multiple choice, you might see that or you might see that. So I just want to be prepared for either one. This last one, same idea. I'm going to take what two numbers multiply to equal 2,500 and add to equal 100, and that's negative 50 and negative 50. So p minus 50 squared equals 83. Now you'll notice that in all of these cases, once you have it set up, you're always getting x and then half of the middle, right? Half of 6 was 3, half of negative 10 was negative 5, half of 14 was 7, half of negative 100. That's not a coincidence. That's how it's always going to be for us. And then we take the square root, and I get p minus 50 equals positive or negative square root of 83. I'm going to add that 50, put it right in front. So p equals 50 plus or minus square root of 83. And again, because 83 is not a nice perfect square, some people will just leave that, not worry about it. But if you wanted to work that out, p could be 59.110, or 50 minus the square root of 83 gives us 40.889, or 890 would be another way to do that. All right. So again, this is the kind of the end process of completing the square. This is kind of the step right before it. Tomorrow's worksheet's going to kind of walk you through the whole thing.